Hi all, my name is Allie with Neurodivergent Safe Space, and today we're talking about the autistic experience with trauma. Now, historically, we don't have a great reputation with trauma. In fact, I'm going to share a story from the 1950s that my grandmother shared. She used to be a teacher in the Bronx, and she would tell this story to me about going down into the basement as a teacher or an elementary student even, in which she'd be scared of the students down in the basement. And I asked more questions about this. What kind of students were in the basement? What kind of kids were you afraid of? And what she would describe to me is they were loud. They were in a really scary room, often with loud noises. They had no natural lighting and this really scary light that kept blinking. And she would describe to me that the students in that classroom were loud. They were frightening. They were autistic, profoundly autistic in some of them, disabled in some of them. We've historically not cared for our neurodiverse population or our disabled population well as the United States. We have not done very well in the school systems. We try. We are actively working to make improvements. We're actively working in the clinical community to make improvements. But you have to remember that this field of study is only about 100 years old, and that does not include autistic understanding, respect in the community, or effective care and treatment. And so we're talking about trauma here, but we have a historical experience of trauma, not just from us, not just from the 50s, but historically we've not been treated well. And the people who are the most marginalized of our autistic community are those with transgender, non-binary, agender, and all gender identity differences. It includes those with race and ethnic backgrounds that are historically marginalized, including Black, African American, Latino, Latinx, Native American, and those with poor socioeconomic status. When we're talking about already the people who have historically had the worst supportive systems in our country, they continue to have the worst supportive systems in our country. And these are the individuals that actually have the highest rates of autism within our population. And so one of the differences between that autistic experience that we have to understand is that PTSD does not necessarily look like the DSM version of PTSD because we have such significant historical trauma. We have higher social distress. We have higher ranked PTSD-like responses in social situations, especially bullying, especially when it comes to marginalization, isolation, institutionalization of where trauma has occurred. We have also a higher rate of bullying, social isolation, social rejection. All of those things cause pretty significant trauma responses. And as clinicians, if we're utilizing something like EMDR and searching for that index trauma, it doesn't exist for the autistic population because we've suffered throughout our lives consistently, repeatedly rejected, repeatedly discriminated against, repeatedly suffering other people as we are vulnerable and lack the ability to communicate, which causes an even more difficult challenge. So I know we're going long today, but I think it's really important to recognize that our autistic population, our neurodiverse population, is uniquely experienced with trauma, and we do not have good and effective treatment methods at this time. So if you or someone you love is suffering, please make sure that you're seeking out support and care from a clinician or supportive clinician who is both specializing with neurodivergence and with traumatic experiences, and they're not just using EMDR because EMDR alone is not an effective treatment for this supportive community. If you are someone who has suffered, I am so sorry. I'm right along with you. You're not alone in this. We all struggle together and we all struggle alone. But it does not mean you have to suffer forever. Please seek out supports and help. We are here to help you. You just have to find us.